People in Boston will soon have a chance to expand their access to the harbor through a new pop-up museum located just across from North Station. The museum's a partnership between Invesco Real Estate and Save the Harbor, Save the Bay. To tell us more about the project is our guest from Save the Harbor, the Director of Strategy and Communications, Bruce Berman. Thank you very much for being with us, Bruce.
Chris, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Bruce, put this in context, because I hear North Station. There was a time in Boston I would never have associated North Station with the harbor, and yet these days it's a totally different city.
I mean, I have to admit that I've always had a sort of a different attitude towards that part of the city because I keep my boat at Constitution Marina right over the North Washington Street Bridge in Charlestown, and the very first big stripers that we ever caught were at the locks, and in essence the building that we're at, which is 226 Causeway, is right at the intersection of the bridge and Causeway Street, and it's a special site. The owners and their team came to us and they said, "Hey, we've got some empty space on the ground floor. We'd like to have it activated. What would you like to do?" And we said, last year we brought 30,000 kids out to the beach, the islands, and onto the harbor. How about we bring the beach, the islands, and the harbor onto the land? And we did it. And it's the Boston Harbor Pop-Up Museum.
I know it's good for developers who attract some traffic that wasn't there before, but I'm also thinking the way the city is, because the city flows to the harbor. I mean, you don't have to go very far from there before you're on the harbor walk, you go down the Greenway. So, I mean, this is a whole different orientation.
It's very different, and I have to say that a part of me hates change. I know you're not like that, but a part of me does. You know, there was a time when I could drive to Charlestown and park in what's now the City Square Park along with 400 cars for free in a dirt lot. The harbor was surrounded by brownfields and parking lots and some pretty charming old businesses that hadn't changed much. I loved it. Those days are gone. It's a little sad, but on the other hand, tens of thousands of people out and about on the weekend, maybe riding a bicycle, maybe doing a picnic, maybe going to one of the great bars or restaurants, just going to one of our terrific parks or out to the islands. It's been terrific to watch.
Well, people at Save the Harbor, Save the Bay have been getting this museum ready, and talk about what they've been doing and what you can do there when it opens.
We've never done a museum before, but we have done a lot of programming. So we looked at the programs that we run and thought about ways we could bring them into a space. So for example, there's a fabulous artist. His name is Andres Amador, and he comes and hundreds of people using rakes make designs in the sand that disappear when the tide comes up. So we have sandboxes, and you can do designs yourself with your kids. We do murals. One of my artists in residence designed a mural that sort of intermingles Boston sports teams' logos and their iconic mascots with natural images of the lobsters and stuff that you find in the harbor. You can color that. If you want to learn a little bit about the way that the role that kids, young people, have played in the past, and I mean African American, Asian, Hispanic kids and women as navigators, pirates, captains of ships, and as sailors, we built a little interactive exhibit for that. It's a fun place, and you know, there's tables and there'll be Wi-Fi by the end of the week. So if you're around, you can pop in. We're open from 10 to 2 every day. On the weekends, I think it's 12
now
to 4.
There's one other prize item at this museum that I associate with you, and that's the striped bass.
Listen, Chris, I have to admit this. If I wanted to, like, you and I are personal friends on Facebook, and I know that when I send out a picture of me holding up a big striped bass or that I caught in Boston Harbor or a tuna fish that we caught on the bank, that people comment. That's the stuff that people see the most. They're dramatic. This particular location, right at the entrance to the Charles, is a terrific place for fishing, but not everybody's going to have a chance to go striped bass fishing. So we built a striped bass selfie station. We have a replica striped bass, about 40 inches, hung by wires from the ceiling in front of a sky view of the city. You can hold it up, take a picture of yourself with the biggest striped bass you've ever seen.
Bruce, are we just simply discovering something that's been there all the time, with, you know, the ability to catch a striped bass in the harbor, or is this something that's changed because of how much the harbor has been cleaned up?
It's a really great question. You know, seals, porpoises, seabirds of all descriptions. striped bass, flounder. There's a resurgence, and there are two reasons, I think. The first is that we've made extraordinary gains in water quality that has dramatically improved the natural environment. There's no question about it. The second is that we've strengthened the city and the water's edge with the harbor walk, with appropriate new development, with open spaces that people can get to. And so we have this technical thing. We call it increased ascertainment. It means there's more people looking, and that means that they're seeing more.
And also the mix of people, because I don't go fishing in the harbor, but I walk by people who do. And I mean, whether it's in South Boston, even in Quincy sometimes.
You and I've had this conversation, and it's something that really warms my heart. There's a lot of discussion. There's no question that a lot of the new development is primarily for folks that have a lot of money. But the ground floor, the space and access to the water has never been better in this city. And the people that are taking advantage of it come from every walk of life. They are every age. They are every race and ethnicity. And frankly, what brings them together is the water. It's really fun. You go to Southie, and you're going to have some Asian guys that are fishing, and you're going to have some Irish guys that are fishing, and you're going to have some yuppies from Cambridge that are fishing there too, and a father and son, and mothers and daughters. And they're all helping each other, and they're all learning from each other. Interestingly, they're sometimes fishing for different fish because people bring their culture with them to the waterfront. But I find that it brings people together, and I'm really proud of it. And I think that as a city, we never thought that it'd be cheap to live in a beautiful condo by the water, but we thought that we could make everything from the greenway to the water small d democratic, accessible, with free programs and activities. And I think we've done it.
Now, you have another idea for bringing people together, and you don't even need a fishing rod. This is happening on March 11th.
That's true, and I'm hoping that you'll join us again this year with that terrific soft hat. And every year we run the Harpoon Shamrock Splash, a cold water plunge and pledge, or pledge and plunge fundraiser. You jump in the water for just a minute. It's pretty cold, trust me. It'll be pretty cold. And then you pop on out, and you have a refreshing Harpoon beer. Terrific food from this year, our friends at Roast Beast, just up the street from us here at BU, and the Baja Taco Truck, also a neighborhood staple, and others. And we raised last year more than $50,000 to support free programs on the region's public beaches for kids and families from Nahant, from Lynn, from Revere, from Winthrop, East Boston, South Boston, Dorchester, Quincy, and Hull. And this year, we hope people will join us. Did I mention that you can register online at www.shamrocksplash.org? People do it because it's fun, just $20 to sign up. They also raise money, ask their friends. Like, I have a lot of people who think that at my age, it's risky. So they give me money because they think that something might happen if I go in the water.
It won't be as cold as it was on January 1st, I imagine.
I have to tell you that the air won't be as cold, but I bet you that the water's going to be colder. I mean, we thought we were smart when we used to be a February event when we moved it to March. And since then, we've had snowstorms and the coldest water that I've ever seen. And I wish we'd had it yesterday when it was 70 degrees. Just one thing. Not only can you have a great time and a cold beer and some refreshments, but if you raise some money, you'll have a chance to win round-trip tickets from our partners at JetBlue to any nonstop destination they fly in the U.S. And also, and you should probably think about this, best costume, you also win tickets. Last year, one of my interns came as me. You'll be pleased to know they did not win.
Okay. A few more details, because you've got a soft opening for the museum. Sure. And some regular hours after that. So what should people be thinking about?
So if you're in the neighborhood, around lunchtime, 10 to 2, drop by. If you'd like to bring a group or have some activity that you'd like to, if you've got a school group or, an after-school group that wants to come down, give us a call at Save the Harbor, and we'll arrange to bring one of our staffers in to make it work for you. It's a fun place. It's easy. It's no, it's not like the Children's Museum or the Museum of Science or the MFA, but it's a great place to spend a half hour or an hour if you're in the neighborhood.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks.
From Save the Harbor, Save the Bay, Bruce Berman.